Hey, so I'm going to go through my interpretation and do a little bit of an analysis. I'm not going to make it as quite as long as I've made them in the past, so I'll keep it to a minimum. Here we go. But if you just want to skip ahead to the interpretation, I would go to 1 minute and 33 seconds. When I said that that Dale and his friend were going to drive back to Dale's house, what might have been a better thing to say is that he and his friend were going to drive together back to Dale's family's house, or to where he's from originally, because it makes it sound like Dale has a house that is far away from school, and he has his own establishment, which is entirely possible, but with the assumption that he's a college student at Gallaudet, um, not necessarily even at Gallaudet, but that he's a college student. It's probably not his house, it's probably his family's house, and that's one thing I could have made a little bit clearer, and that happens about 150. And another thing that I miss is that he is saying we're going to go home for the summer. I didn't say what they were going home for. It could have been Christmas, it could have been Easter, it could have been any sort of holiday, but this is summer, so the amount of luggage they have makes a little bit more sense. That's about 2:05 ish, and in the like 20-30 seconds um between my last comment and this one, I I completely kind of lose what he even says. Even now, as I'm reviewing it, I still am not understanding what the message is in those few moments. So right now I'm at like 240, and it's between like 210 and 240 were those 30 seconds, and I'm just still not sure. Um, there's a few instances where I miss things, like I miss numbers. For example, I believe what he said was that around 3:45 ish, that the cop had been following him for 6 miles. And if that's the case, then I saw it correctly this time. But if that's not the case, I'm missing numbers, and I'm probably doing the same thing that was suggested that I did, or that we all did, with finger spelling, and that you see the finger spelling, and then your brain shuts off. Um, I'm wondering if that's not happening with numbers too. Um, I think it was the Squaw Valley story, and I struggled with numbers in that one too, and that made a significant difference on the meaning of the story. So I need to probably um, think about that a little bit. In this instance, however, I feel like I still get the point across, even though that was omitted. So let me know what you think about that. So again, I miss numbers. I think it was like 40 or 50 miles how far they drove before they got to their next destination, which I believe is the mental hospital. I I omitted that because I was afraid that if I would say the number wrong. Okay, so with the numbers, I that again, that was omitted, and I wondered if this was something that really was pertinent, or did I convey the meaning when I said we even passed some farms, kind of implying that we came from a suburban area or a city area, which they did. They left from Gallaudet, which is a dense city area, and then they were driving out and they're passing farms. Well, that would indicate to me, in my understanding, that they've driven quite a ways out. So could I argue that the meaning is still there even though I didn't sign this specific number? That's my question. Okay, so for the most part, I'm at 452 right now, and for the most part, up until about now, I really was okay. I was a little bit better with the external processing, or lessening that. But then I get to this point and I just see on my face, I'm like, oh my holy fudge, I have no idea what's going on. And part of it too is that we were talking about mental hospital, and even though I knew that's what it was because you said that would be what to expect, I still didn't want to say it. I felt like there was this, ooh, don't say that, don't say that. And is that, I don't know if that's my own bias, probably. That's probably what it is. So then when we get talking about this scene that he's talking about at the mental hospital, and I don't even want to address it because I feel like I'm going to just be wrong, or I'm going to say something that's going to be rude or biased, or I don't know, and I'm just going on and on in my head wondering if I'm really seeing what I'm seeing. I find it interesting, and this is at 5:44. I find it interesting that it wasn't until he got to the point where he was describing himself in the car and how he was woken up, crack of dawn, and if that. And but that whole portion between the time when they arrive at the mental hospital and when he wakes up, like it's just gone. Okay, so I'm at 6:35, and I say this police officer comes over swaggering with his belt, and I have to laugh because swaggering with his belt. What I meant to say was that as he walked, you could see like the hip movement because he had like his gun and his nightstick and all that on his belt, and you could, that accentuates the movement, and so that's where I was going with that, and it just didn't work. So I'm about at 7:07, and I've started to clarify that it was someone from the mental hospital who made the call, and it took me some time to see how that all interconnected, and I wanted to make sure that it came off the right way because I don't want to sound like I'm correcting myself, because that's honestly what I saw, was that it was like it was the police officer or someone who said, well, the so and so called and this is why we are here, because they called and they said this. And so I don't know if it sounds more like I'm correcting myself or if it is conveying the right thing. Okay, so I think that about wraps up my critique of myself. I think that's more of what that was. I think the analysis happened right after the interpretation in the previous video. So just let me know if you want to see some sort of different response, if you'd prefer to have this written up, if there's anything I can do differently. Like I've said in other videos, I will go back through this because I honestly, that is the best thing that I have done so far, is just to go back through after I've, give myself some time and go back through it again so that I can better understand it. That's really all it is. I Yep. So I don't know if I said this already or not. I wanted to apologize for the technical difficulty. The camera went down like a third of the way into my critique, and so then you just saw a still of me for the last like 6 minutes. So I'm sorry about that. Um, I don't really know how to fix that. Anyway, I look forward to your feedback and yeah, okay. Thanks. Bye.